It's football season. This is a new show. I hope you find this because we didn't send out a lot of notifications. The program is called the Panhandle Gator Club podcast, presented by the Panhandle Gator Club, along with our friends at Rocket Lanes and my broadcast partner. You see they're all decked out in his glorious colors. It's Rob Dotson from right here in Panama City. And Rob's done an unbelievable job. There's the Gator Club right there. That's a QR code there, Rob. How you like that cool one right there?
I think it's great. It's definitely what we want people to see, and come join us.
We're going to give folks a chance to catch up. This is a brand new show, and we really haven't notified anybody about it. And we're just going to let it grow organically, and we'll be doing more and more. This show will alternate with a show called Football Friday with a fairly prominent guy named occasion named Urban Meyer. He will be on next Friday and intermittently, and we'll do our Football Friday shows. And we got a lot to talk about. And I think what you should do is before we go into our sponsorships, we do appreciate them greatly. That would be Prine Orthodonics, and we mentioned obviously Rocket Lanes. What a place that is. We were out there recently. You should kind of tell folks a little bit about the Gator Club, Panhandle Gator, what it is, what you do, and who you are, so they have a general idea. So,
well, Panhandle Gator Club services the eastern part of the Panhandle. There's 4 Gator clubs in the area. Starting at Pensacola, we have the Northwest Florida Gator Club. Then in Destin, we have the Emerald Coast Gator Club. And east of us, we have the Capital City Gator Club in Tallahassee. We are in the center between all of them, and we like to do what we can to bring Gators together, particularly as a family, because we enjoy our family gatherings.
You guys do some awesome things here. Now we think down in Central Florida, where I live, part of the year, Ocala, Gainesville, that we call it sort of invented Gator football, and it's all about us. But the fact is, as you just mentioned, there's so many Gator clubs up here in Destin and Panama City, etc. And just so you know, these guys are serious. They have some really good speakers. Talk about your speakers you had last couple of years.
Back, I guess it's 3 years ago, within a 3-month period, we had James Bates or Batesy come over here for a social and gathering. Then the next month, we had Billy Napier.
Wait, you had who?
Billy Napier, head football coach.
I know that guy. He may be looking for a job soon, but I know him.
That's possible. We'll be glad to help him get employed, at least temporarily.
Yeah, I think he's going to survive for a while. We'll see. It's a little early to fire him, but we'll talk about that later in the show because we got Franz Beard on. He'll be joining us. He's got a new book out. But go ahead.
Talking about Franz, a month after we had Billy Napier here, we had Todd Golden show up.
Wow!
So within 3 months, we had 3 big names of the Gators, and it was just as he was rolling towards the national championship.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those you may know a little bit about, maybe you don't. I'm Buddy Martin. I'm a writer and broadcaster. We have this show called the Buddy Martin Show 4 nights a week. I'm on with Shane Matthews on Tuesday mornings. That's not important. What's important is I know how hard it is to get speakers like this. I'm a real active member and on the board, kind of ex officio now, of the Ocala Quarterback Club, which has done some wonderful things under the leadership of Mike McGinnis. In fact, 2 weeks ago, we decided to name an award for great conduct and citizenship and character for Wayne McCall, our own Wayne McCall, who just passed, was a captain of the team in '67. And Wayne McCall was a special person to me. Nonetheless, you guys are awesome. You do some great things. You're very active. Rob, you were president of this thing for forever. You had to beg people to take it off your back, right?
Yeah, fortunately, thanks to the Alumni Association, I got term limited. I guess I served 4 years as the Gator Club president. We've had some great leaders in this club. We currently have one. He was in the military for a few years, marketing and a few things. He was actually a racquetball pro for the military, and just a great guy. He's doing great things with our club. We have events on a monthly basis.
All right, I'm going to give you a chance a little later to give your information for people who might want to join the club or maybe advertising. We got some terrific advertisers and about to get some more, which is what drives this show. And we hope to give something back, of course. And so we'll do that a little bit later, but I want to get with the show now and talk about what the week's topic is going to be. We were really lucky today to have Franz Barrett, who's senior writer for Gator Bait and does some terrific articles. If you're interested, I can tell you how to connect with Gator Bait. They can tell me how to do a lousy job of promoting Gator Bait. But GatorBaitMedia.com, we're a boutique. We have quality articles and photographs. Matter of fact, in a couple of weeks here, I think 3 or 4, you've heard about it, Rob. There's going to be a basketball book. It's done. And the contracts are signed, and the printing is starting on a book about the championship season called The Golden Season by Franz Beard, who followed him all the way. And I know some people want to want that book, and I don't have the details. I've already been contacted, but stay in touch with me here, or you email me at buddymartinshow@gmail.com.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they're already getting requests, and we haven't been able to fulfill them. But that's what's going on there. This is who we are. Rob is a tremendous friend, and he's helped me a great deal here in Panama. I'm getting used to it, getting accustomed. I love watching, looking at my back door at this bay over here, which is pretty nice. Bay. All right, so Rob, before we go to Franz, give me your perspective, because what we talk about now, we want this show to be different perspective of people primarily in the Panhandle, but we welcome all comers. You folks can join us. Tell me what you make of the recent news. Huge weekend for the Gators, the really brutal loss last weekend, and what's your take on the whole thing?
You know, I guess it's hard to say you weren't disappointed. I was looking forward to our 4th year of the Gators, finally getting it all together, finally getting all the talent together, finally getting all the coaching together, and going out and looking good. I'm not saying we was going to win the national championship and be in the final 12, but at least go out and play competitive football head-to-head with the best teams and look respective. It was, to me, extremely disappointed after really the first 2 weeks. Even though we scored 55 points against Long Island, I just felt we looked sluggish. Against USF, I just didn't see any fire in their pants.
Well, it's been funny to talk about that, and this guy's been on top of it. He's been to press conferences. He's got a couple of pieces up now on Gator Bait you want to read. He's on the show with me. We've been doing this a long time. Let's bring in our friend, Franz Beard. And Fran, I don't know if you had the pleasure or not of meeting Rob Dotson. He is an Energizer Bunny in Northwest Florida here up in this Franz Beard.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
Good morning, Franz. Great to meet you and talk with you. It's an honor.
Oh, my God. Pleasure and honor is all mine. Believe me. I thank you.
Francis, we're going to get into this a little later, and I might even play a bite from Steve Spurrier regarding upsets. You and I had a very interesting, introspective conversation last night on the Buddy Martin Show about upsets. And Franz and I have been accused of being Pollyannish and homers and all that. But, we try to bring it to you. We're journalists, okay? We've been doing this a long time. And if we're positive about some things, is that we're hopeful. And one thing you have to be, Franz and Rob, you have to be hopeful. Oh, there's ups and downs just like life. This is a tough time. But let's get Franz in here. Franz, remember what we talked about last night? Yeah. Upsets are possible. And we played a bite from Steve Spurrier about his big upset win over Clemson when he was at Duke. And he would not have gotten the job at Florida had they not upset Duke. And they were 14. They were big underdogs.
14-0. There were 21-point underdogs and down 14-0 at the half.
Yeah, and we're playing with subs. All right, so talk about what we discussed, and then let's have a reality check. Let's don't drink the Kool-Aid again.
Yeah.
but let's not rule out what could happen. That the possibilities of things are what I love about sports.
Well, here's the thing that everybody has to realize before we go any further with this. There's 10 games left on the schedule. 2 weeks ago, we looked at that same schedule and said there isn't a team that Florida couldn't beat on this schedule. Having lost to South Florida, we can now say there isn't a team that Florida couldn't lose to on this schedule as well. So we're in this situation that it's a real predicament. How much rope do you give Billy? Is 6-4 the rest of the way good enough? Because if he goes 6-4, that's 7-5, matches what he did last year against the toughest schedule in the country. If he goes 7-3, that's 8-4. That's an improvement in the regular season. I don't see how you fire him at 8. And if he goes 8-4, 9-3, he may make the playoff with 9-3. So now, do I expect 9-3? I don't know. And that's what the problem is with this team is we don't know. We don't know which Gators are going to show up. We see the Gators of last year, of the last 4 games, and we think they could. But we haven't seen them in through the first 2 games. We've seen spurts. We've seen a drive here and there when, for example, when Jaden Ball looks like, the second coming of Jimmy Brown. We see certain, elements of the defense coming together. Bryce Thornton in the back side, I think is heading for an all SEC type of season as a safety, and on like this. But we haven't seen, for lack of a better term, we haven't seen them gel. We haven't seen the team, glued together, pulled together, whatever you want to call it. We haven't seen that. And that's the part that we're waiting on. If they can do that consistently, they can win consistently. If they can't, we got to hope for gelling here and there and springing an upset. Buddy knows Buddy was there in my first game as a Gator. Florida sprung one of the great upsets in history, beat Georgia Tech 18-17. That was my first. I was 9 years old, my first college football game, and I still remember asking the guy who was standing up and cheering, says, "We're going for the win." I said, because Ray Graves was holding up too. I said, "What does that mean?" Because I didn't know.
It was brand new, Franz. It was the first year they had it. They'd never had 2 points before, and that was what I was doing.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
and the guy said,
"We're
going for the win." Yeah. I'm thinking, hey, that's a great idea.
You could do that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And the great 2-point play was Larry Liberatore to John Macbeth.
He shot putted it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, 2 point. Rob was probably too. Rob Dotson was probably too young. Rob, you remember that game?
No.
Yeah.
Larry Liberatore's idea of a deep pass was I think the ball went about 6 yards.
Yeah, but it was a great game. Lyndon Fatty scored that touchdown.
Yes, he did.
Number 33. Yeah, he scored it. So. All right, so rather than going down memory lane, let's bring it back to here and let's let Rob jump into conversation. Look, let's look. We're not drinking the Kool-Aid yet, okay? We try. So much of Gator football is feeling. It's about not just picking the numbers or looking at the trends or whatever. It's about what you feel, and I'm not going to brag on myself, but I'm going to remember a story that. The year that the Choke-a-Doke, what was that year, friends? I forget what it was.
That was 1994.
94. I remember that morning driving to Tallahassee, walking out my front door. The lady in the house said to me, "What do you think is going to happen?" And I said, I have a conflicted feeling about this. It was a feeling. Again, no, it wasn't. I said, something is just not right here. And she said, "Well, what do you mean? Who's going to win?" I said, "I don't know." I did say, so help me God, it might be a tie because you could have ties in those days. So anyway, but I mean, it's about feelings. Rob, what's your feeling about this weekend?
It's a matter of what our coach does. We have the talent, we have the capability, we have everything we need to be competitive with LSU. It's just really, to me, a matter of, does the coach get them prepared and excited and, like I said, fire in their butt? Or does the team come and look like they did against USF and just kind of say, hey, we're here and we'll go through it and we'll get our NIL money and we'll go home? I really think Coach Napier can put some fire in their butt. I do think we can become competitive. Won't say we can't win the game. I think we can, but it's going to be a challenge. I'm just looking. I do see now the point spread was at 9.5, and last night you mentioned it was at 7.5. I'm seeing 6.5 right now.
Really? Wow.
So what does that say? That says the money's going towards Florida.
They're a little worried. That's right.
Right.
Francis, that sounds very interesting. All right, so Rob, while we're doing this, jump in there and tell us about Rocket Lanes. We're going to take Franz. It's Franz Beard's kind of place, by the way.
Oh, it would be, Fran. Basically, come get social with Rocket Lanes is what they say. Bring your family and enjoy a day of bowling on one of their 24 synthetic lanes and computer screen scoring. Sorry about that. Or skate in their 8,000 square foot roller rink, which is great for family fun.
Not 8,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. They say it's great for birthday parties, youth groups, private lockups for churches and schools where they don't let people in and out.
I don't skate. I'm sorry.
All right, here's you. This will be you, friends. Geek out in their 16,000 square foot mega arcade, playing one of the state of art or retro classic arcade games.
Oh, yeah, I can do that, and I can bring my nephew, my great nephew, along. He's on the bowling team at his high school over in Clearwater Countryside and has a 270 average. So,
well, this is at your kind of place. They got bowling alley, they got a skating rink, they got the arcade, and then while the kids are playing, adults can enjoy a cold beverage in their upscale sports bar and grab a bite to eat in their deli grill.
Well, look where we were the other night, and I got to tell you, I watched the game from there because my cable company could not get the Gator game. So I went over to Panama City Beach, and that's where it is. And then Rob took me in this little sports bar there, and I watched unfortunately, at the end of the FSU game, we had to endure all the but we did get it done. And finally, I had to use the facility. And I said, Rob, where's the restroom? Oh, it's over there. I got lost. I literally got lost.
well,
It was so big. I mean, the bowling alley and the arcade and the restaurant, whatever. It's a nice facility. And we had a very nice visit with the owner and proprietor. And she's agreed to be the title sponsor of this show, which we greatly appreciate. And Rob, thanks for introducing me and taking me over there. We'll be back. All right, now.
Rob, you remind me sometime to tell you about Buddy's great adventure in Oxford, Mississippi in 2007. Speaking of getting lost.
We will need to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. Let's talk about football right now. And let's talk about basketball right now. This guy sitting here is fixing to be a best-selling author. The paperwork is just being signed as we speak. The book is going to the printer next week. The hard copies of the book will be out in about 4 weeks of the golden season. Franz Beard was with the basketball team all the way through. He went out to Texas. He went out to California. He went to Raleigh. And he is Mr. Basketball, as far as I'm concerned, of the Florida Gators. Nobody writes or knows it better than Franz. And this book is something you're going to be proud of, Franz.
Well, I appreciate that. This was a kind of a labor of love, and I got to tell you why. It had been 18 years since we won a national championship. And, you start wondering, will I ever see another one? I'm in case some of you don't know, I'm not exactly the springiest of spring chickens anymore.
You're for 45. We didn't know.
I've had a couple. I've spent a couple years watching stuff over the year. But you start wondering, is it ever going to happen again? And you couple that with, from a personal standpoint, it's been a very difficult year because of losing my stepfather, my parrot who used to sit on my shoulder.
My parent was Parrot, and Ralphie was special in his life.
Ralphie was a family member who was quite often a guest on the Buddy Martin show.
Yes, he was uninvited, but he was always a guest.
And she died the day after Christmas, and so and so on like that. But it's just been a difficult year, and basketball was almost my lifeline. And here was this young brash coach who told me back in June of last year, he said, "We got some dudes," and he did. That was the thing about it. We kept getting in as the season kept going along, and then we get into the tournament time. I kept remembering that we got some dudes, because here they go against UConn, all these players who were part of two national championships coming in there. And I'm thinking, Florida's got better personnel. And sure enough, the better personnel wins. They come in the next week and it's Texas Tech. And sure enough, Florida's better personnel in the end wins. Final Four, same thing. And it kept resonating with me. We got some dudes. But it was also about the chemistry. It was about the coaching. It was about this attitude that I don't care what the score is, we're coming back and we're going to win. And yeah, they did. So it made it a labor of love, and being able to write about it was special. And I appreciate the opportunity to put it into a book form, because this basketball season lifted me up, just as I believe it lifted up the entire Gator Nation. I think everybody, it's been a long time since football won a national championship, been a long time since basketball did. And here comes, boy, they lift us up. They give us hope. They give us this idea that, okay, we're down 11 points. And there's only 3 minutes left in the game. We're down 11 points. No problem. Okay. They come back. Walter Clayton Jr. just makes unbelievable shots. Tommy Hawk, who, by the way, Larry Chiat believes could be next year's National Player of the Year. He believes he's that good. The Minister of Defense still watches the Gators, although from far away, and still loves them. I'm going to be writing a column about him very soon, because his best friend in the world is Kelvin Sampson. And so he watches the national championship game. He's a Gator at heart. And he's got his best friend coaching against the Gators. So what a story. So this whole thing comes into book form, and I'm chronicling the entire season, not just that run. It's too easy to just chronicle the run, the last several games of the season. But people don't realize they played 40 games. They were 36-4. They lost 2 games after February 1st. Unbelievable run by a well-coached team that had the right chemistry, the right players, and a coach that knew how to manipulate the pieces in the right way. So it made for a fun season, made for just an uplifting moment for the Gators. I'll never forget. I am at a Buc-ee's in on my way to Austin.
There's a cover right there. I can't get a good picture of it.
We see that's good. We see the. I'm driving to Austin to catch my flight back to Gainesville, and I mean I didn't sleep. I go and straight from San Antonio, drive to Austin, got to stop and get gas. And I get chomped. Gator fans, they are still delirious, and I get chomped. And unbelievable. Get to the airport in Austin, same thing. I mean, people are giddy. And I keep hearing the same thing from people. Never thought I'd see another one. Never thought I'd see another one. And from a couple young guys, oh my gosh, we got to do this again, you know.
Well, it had a big impact because here it is in the third week of football season. We're talking about basketball. Rob.
You're a basketball school, buddy.
Yeah, might be after Saturday night. So that's great. And just let me remind you, folks, we don't have the information yet about how to order. We're in the process of getting that together. We'll have it. I suspect Rob Dotson may have an interest in getting you down here to bring some books at some point too. I'm just guessing.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that'll be
I can
fun.
talk your ears blue. I know that.
Well, you can do that.
Speaker.
Yeah.
Make one orange, one blue.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's get Scooby for jumping around, but let me get in here and get the other sponsor names. These folks are just great folks. There's some great Gators out here. And I mean, everywhere. You don't know the Panhandle. I'm just learning about it thanks to my good friend Rob Dotson. And by the way, Rob Brown will be on the show regularly because he's a big fan of this area, has been coming down here for 85 years or however long. Actually, he's not that old, but his mother's been coming down here 85 years, and he knows the area, loves the restaurant. Even Billy Napier's family comes down here a lot. So it's a beautiful area. I'm learning about it now. And the people are big. They're big football fans, Rob, not just Gator fans. There are other people. I want you to know we will welcome other people from other schools on this show, even though it's sponsored by the Panhandle Gator Club. Right, Rob?
Absolutely. It's an all sports, all Panhandle podcast.
Let me tell you about Prine Orthodontics. Whether you're a teen, adult, or somewhere in between, your perfect smile starts with Prine. Visit them online or book a complimentary consultation, 2 locations, Panama City Beach and Panama City, and check them out. Telephone number 850-785-6400. And I do have, I think, what is called a QR code. I'm just learning about this. This will get you directly into Prine. And I know you know the folks over there, Jody, and I know that they've been really great supporters of the Gator Club. And they're also terrific when it comes to things like taking care of the Gator Club. Talk about them, Rob, a little bit.
You know, I know Jody Prine personally, just a great person, and her business, like I said, if you're ready for a smile of your dreams, she really takes care of you. It's a personalized orthodontics where kids and adults all feel comfortable.
There's your information right now. We believe orthodontics should be fun. Check them out. Prine Orthodontics, so you would know, located in Panama City and at Panama City Beach. All right. I got a list of games here for this weekend. Let's start with the one foremost on our roster. And we're going to talk in a minute to a guy who's behind the enemy lines and the house divided. You talk about a tough situation. He's in Mariana. We'll get his take. But right now, Franz, we talk about upsets last night. We're not flat out going to come out and predict it, but the line dropped for a reason because somebody thinks Florida is going to play better. I don't know. It's about a feeling. We're talking earlier. It's about a feeling. Rob, I've told this story many times. We were in Phoenix. I think it might have been the Camelback. I don't know where we were. And anyway, we were there covering for our company, then Gator Country. And Franz had been telling me all week long, they're going to beat Ohio State. They're going to beat Ohio State. I said, Franz, you've lost your mind. Okay? They're underdogs. Ohio State is Ohio State. There's no way they're going to beat Ohio State. And as the week went on, now we saw the various interviews of people. There was a pervading feeling that came upon us. France had already picked Florida to beat Ohio State. I was staying with my son in the room, and I woke up at 2:00 in the morning probably going to the bathroom more than likely, and I banged my leg on the bed, and I thought to myself, Florida's not going to lose this game. Franz is right. They're going to win it. I went in online on my picks and changed my pick to Ohio State. And guess what? I was right because Franz Beard coached me up. That was an unbelievable day and an unbelievable thing that happened. And upsets do happen, as we know. We've seen them. Now, having said that, we're going to give you a scenario, Rob, and Franz and I talked about it last night some. Supposing South Florida beats Miami. Supposing, okay? Crazy?
No, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
They have a good team.
Yeah, so you say, okay, let's just play along with me here a little bit. So they knock off Miami tomorrow. We're going to go through the list of some of the games in just a minute. And then somehow, some way, Florida finds a way to win in Baton Rouge. Oh, my gosh. Things just change completely. Perspectives change. And people say, you idiot, buddy, there you go again. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, although it wouldn't be bad. It's kind of warm out today. The fact is that I've been around football 60 years and observing it. Franz, you've been around about 45 or 48, whatever it is. And now, do I think I'm ready? I don't know. I'm going to go say they're going to win, but I'm thinking about that points right now, thinking, you know what? That's changing things. So just a scenario. I love the possibilities of scenarios. Imagine South Florida beating Miami and Florida beating Baton Rouge. What would that do to things, Rob?
You talking about stirring things up and upsetting the pot. South Florida is a 17.5-point underdog from what I've seen this morning. And that would be a huge upset. Both Miami fans will probably show up at the stadium and watch their team play. But I think South Florida is going to fill the stadium and support them enough that South Florida has a good chance.
France?
Well, 17.5-point underdogs. Does that sound familiar? Last week, South Florida on the road, 17.5-point underdogs. I don't think they're going to win the ball game, but I think they're going to make it very uncomfortably close for Miami. And this is one of these things where, oh my gosh, if you're betting that Miami's going to cover the spread, I think you're going to lose some money.
All right, let me give you a few more games here. You guys jump in if you see anything you like, because it's a busy weekend. By the way, this is the Panhandle Gator Club broadcast coming to you every other week here on these networks. You'll find us eventually. I know it'll take a minute. Thank you to our sponsors, to Rocket Lanes and Prine Orthodonics, and the people, to Rob Dotson for his great work. I want to talk about the games this weekend. And then, Rob, you're going to tell us about a baseball player from here that's signed with Florida as well.
Yes.
All right. Of all the games we got going on this weekend, other than the ones we just mentioned, what's going to get your attention this weekend? By the way, just so you know, you think we're crazy talking about stuff like this. What happened in the FSU Alabama game?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, it was upset, right?
Last I checked, the mighty Crimson Tide got hosed, and that was the last thing they were expecting. To the point that now you want to talk about people who think that the world is coming to an end. The only people who take a loss harder than Alabama fans are Notre Dame fans.
Yeah. Oh, here's a couple of games here to talk about. We got about 4 minutes. I'm going to give you 2 or 3. You guys pick one. Georgia, number 3 at number 15, Tennessee. We mentioned Miami and South Florida. Notre Dame, you mentioned them, number 8 versus Texas A&M interesting game at Texas A&M. South Carolina Vanderbilt may be. I'm picking Vanderbilt in that game. I think they're going to be.
I agree.
And then beyond that, we've got some ACC games. The other interesting SEC games is probably Ole Miss and Arkansas. I take Ole Miss there, and then you get Alabama, Wisconsin. Guys need to beat the Big Ten, that's for sure. Anything grab your attention, Rob?
You know, if I was Georgia, I'd be a little concerned playing at Tennessee. I do think Georgia's probably the better team, but the home field may have a little bit to do with that game. So I think it's going to be. I think Tennessee will cover the 3.5. I think they can win. I'm not sure they will.
France?
I think Georgia's going to win that game, and I think it's going to be white knuckles at the end there. And I'm just not sure that I'm just not sold on Joey Aguilar. He's always had this disgusting habit of completing passes to the other team, and he might just do that a few times in this game.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen in Tennessee. I just want to see what kind of team they got because they have a knack for sometimes causing problems. All right, so let's discuss one more thing. What has to happen for Florida to win? We know, obviously, they got to stop Nussmeier. And we know that they did a great job last year. Pass rush wasn't what it should have been last week, Franz. Is that where
they've been in 2 games, but they got to first and foremost is this: you got to make LSU one-dimensional. They did that last year, and LSU doesn't run the ball well. Their offensive line they're only averaging 3.6 yards a rush. Their offensive line last week gave up 3 sacks and allowed Nussmeier to get hit 5 times. One of which resulted in a completed pass to the other team. And that was to lousy Tech. That wasn't to a really good football team.
You keep saying that about losing with Tech. Terry Bradshaw is going to beat you up one day.
They were a lot better in Terry's day. Let me just put it this way. They put out a string of quarterbacks back in that day. But I haven't seen enough out of LSU. People say, well, we got to win over Clemson on the road. Clemson's terrible. Clyde Klubnik has already played his way out of a Heisman Trophy. And I got to wonder how long it is before Dabo sends Garrett Riley and says, call up your big brother out in Southern Cal and see if he's got a spot for you on his staff. Their offense is terrible.
Right now. They take it to Alabama.
Their offense is just terrible.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen enough of LSU to think that LSU's offense is that good. So it sets up for Florida's defense. Okay. The question is going to be, can Florida's offense do something?
Yeah.
Can Florida's offense get out there and at least once or twice fool the LSU defense? Because Buddy, I think you heard the same thing I've heard, that the South Florida players were saying that they knew after the first quarter, they knew every single play Florida was going to run.
You still got to execute. That's what Florida didn't do. And then the final minute and a half, we got standing by. We got a guy who lives behind enemy lines and in a house divided somewhat. Tough combination to overcome. Liz and Marianne, we'll talk to him next. But just quickly, I think we talked about play calling enough. I'm tired of that. I don't want to fire Napier right now. That's not a very good look. He may have to be fired eventually, but there's still hope. They can win 7 and win a bowl game and be okay. And their big year is next year. What does that sound like, France? Wait till next year again. But I don't think all hope is lost at this point in time. I'm going to just give you my take on it. That is, they've got to be able to run the football. They got number 13. They got to use him back there. And they've got a lot of off-line speed and wide receiver. And they got to get off the field on 3rd down, France.
That's the thing about it. And LSU's not been good about converting 3rd downs. And this is the thing. Yeah. Nussmeier is averaging less than 6 yards per pass attempt.
Yeah.
That's the standard that tells you if you have a good offense or not. If you're averaging 7.5 or better, you should have a pretty good offense. If you're averaging less than that, you don't. 6 is kind of like the Mendoza line in football. I think this game sets up for Florida's defense. The question is going to be, can the offense generate enough points to win?
And you can't be a 18-point favorite and not score 18 points. That doesn't work. All right, Franz Beard, catch him on Gator Bait, catch him on this program. Watch for his great book coming out soon. You're going to want to have a copy of it. And Rob Dotson is going to see to you folks up here in Panama City get a chance. It's called The Golden Year, and boy, is it good. Thank you, Franz.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
See you,
Franz
man.
Beard. All right, we're going to go now to a guy who lives behind enemy lines, somewhat a house divided. He's in Mariana here. This is a show about the Panhandle. He knows a thing or two about the Panhandle. Rob, say hello to a guy I know pretty well, Tyler Ford.
Welcome, Tyler.
Hey, Rob, how are you, sir?
I am awesome. It's another day that ends with a Y.
That's exactly right. Yes, sir. Hey, buddy Martin.
Oh, you Tyler, by the way, I like your hat.
Hey, thank you. I got that from a friend of mine.
Yeah, it says Gator Bait on. That's terrific.
Yeah. Yep.
Now you're coaching me up on here along, with what life is like here, and I guess I should do full disclosure here. Actually, Tyler's my stepson. Okay.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Tyler was a preacher, by the way, too, and a huge football fan and a smart football fan. Happened to be a pastor in Mariana, does a terrific job at C3. And we talk a lot of football. And you know what, Rob, you know what it's like. Now, Tyler can explain his own situation. His mama's a Knoll, my wife. All right. His brother is a Knoll, although now he claims Virginia. He was a Gator fan, but he turned coated on us. And Tyler is carrying the orange and blue banner. Right, Tyler?
That's correct. When we grew up, and buddy, you know this story, but when we grew up, Tommy and I were both Gator fans. And we went to a Florida State game. Dad took us to a two or three of them, and I just immediately fell in love with the Gators. Although Mom had graduated from Florida State, so she was not happy with my decision or Tommy's decision.
Yeah.
And then Tommy meets this girl in Tallahassee that is a Florida State fan, and he decides to become a Florida State fan, just like that.
Boy.
And it just showed me where his heart was and how dirty his heart is.
Uh-huh.
And, as a pastor, I see the good and the bad, and all of us, we're all bad, and we thank you for Jesus for making us all good. But Tommy's heart was really evident when those eyes of that girl, those big blue eyes of Kathy Ford, grabbed a hold of him and said, "Would you please be a Florida State fan just like me?" And that's all it took. And I'm not falling for that jazz. I'm not going to do it.
Well, you know what? That kind of talk gets you arrested if you're not careful. Okay.
Well, it does. It does. And I think that's why Tommy went into law enforcement. But see, my wife is you probably don't know this, buddy, but she is a Razorback. She grew up in Arkansas.
I didn't know that. No,
Did you? Okay.
She's a Liberty girl, though.
Well, yeah, she teaches for Liberty, and she went to Georgia State. But anyway, she is now a Florida Gator / Arkansas Razorback. You see what I did? What I did was I led my family well according to Scripture, and now I have Florida Gators in my house. And Tommy bowed to Eve. Kathy. And now he's a Florida State fan. Of course, now he's got his master's from Virginia. So speaking of Virginia, Speaking of Virginia, I baptized this little boy when he was 5 years old. His name's Sage Ennis. And his parents live around here in the Panhandle. They live in, I believe, Holmes County. But he plays for the University of Virginia, tight end. And I said, well, I'm gonna flip over to that game for just a minute and see if I can find Sage on there. 10 seconds after I flip over, he scores for Virginia.
Wow.
And I thought, well, there he is. This little 5-year-old kid I baptized 20 years ago is now 6'5", 230 pounds, nothing but muscle, and he's scoring for Virginia Cavaliers. I don't know. I got the biggest kick out of that.
You're taking part of the credit, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course. I led him to Jesus. So I'm sure I'll be in the book somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, guess what his brother does?
Tommy?
Yeah.
No, Tommy well. Great sheriff.
There you go. See there,
Well,
you can badmouth him all you want to, but Rob knows better.
I got a lot of stories, Rob. I could share with you.
I can't say I know him from a business standpoint, but I do know him more personally.
Yeah.
I got to say, Tommy's the best. I got to say, Tommy's the best. Now, Ty is my buddy, okay?
Yeah, we're buddies.
We're buddies. We hang out and drink Total Pop and stuff together, you know. But he's my man. He's also a terrific preacher. All right, so what's it like for you, Tyler? We all have our, difficulties. I have my wife here who now reminds me she thinks she's the Seminole, although I think she's wavering. Every now and then she puts on one of these hats, and
Yeah.
we can win her over, I think.
Well, I know we can. I just had a picture pop up of Mom in her hat the other day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In her Florida Gator hat. I wish I had it.
We got evidence, yeah.
But most of the flack I get is just from the church people. Like, for example, Saturday, the lady that does our announcements, she prayed for me in front of everybody because of how Florida went down the way they did. And then, of course, she says something about Florida State, and the entire congregation erupts. So they know where I stand.
We got it now in this church and at home, and I'm telling you, his brother and his mama.
Hey, when Jesus said, "Pick up your cross and follow me,"
He didn't say it would be easy. He didn't say
it'd be easy. That's right. That's right. So, no, I'm Gator through and through, and I'm not a stats guy like you guys. I listen to y'all talk, and I'm blown away by everything that you guys talk about. I'm just kind of a normal Gator fan that enjoys watching them play and win. So it was a little frustrating last week. Not going to lie to that. I'm sure every one of us felt that after the game was over, after we watched that field goal go through the posts. But you take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Got a few comments online here. Jacob's kind of negative. He didn't think Florida's going to win another game this season. Swag says, here come them Gators. Not so fast, my friend. Florida will bounce back in Death Valley, etc.
I sure do love Swag's positivity.
Yeah. And then we got this comment from Neo. Florida plays very best, 8+ the whole game Saturday. It'll still be close, like 21-20. And then finally, George says, I just want to be LSU in Texas and Georgia, Miami. That's not asking much, George. Yeah,
no, I'm with you, George.
I'd like that too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So in the remaining minutes we've got here, Tyler, give me your heart on this Gator thing. Where they're going to go, and how do you deal with the negativity that's around the coach?
Oh, I mean, I like Billy. I really do. And I don't know where everything is going. You have probably the insider information on some of that stuff.
I don't know either.
But I like him. I think he's a good coach, but I wasn't real impressed with our obviously our play calls on last Saturday. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot to say. I mean, sometimes I feel like he needs to go, and in the moment, I'm frustrated and mad and angry, and I want him to, Christy, my wife, she's, here's the brunt of it, me shouting at the TV last Saturday. I was mad, obviously, but I when the dust settles, I just want what's best for the Gators, buddy. That's all I want. And if it's best for him to move on and us try to find somebody that can make it work, or bring in a play caller or whatever it is, I'm all for it. I leave that to the people that make a lot more money than I do, like you,
like Christy. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, what made you the maddest?
Just that. I mean, the first drive was great. I mean, we go 81 yards down in the first drive. We don't get a chance to score, and that's kind of frustrating because you're wanting to see it start out with a bang, but then just I don't know. It just seemed like they were sleepy. There was not a lot of. I didn't see a lot of motivation in the play calling. I didn't see a lot of motivation in the attack, and so we just kind of. We just kind of looked sleepy out there, and that's not what we're used to seeing as the Florida Gators. Is when you show up in the swamp, it doesn't matter who you're playing. Then you're showing up with the power of the Florida Gator legacy behind you, and it just didn't seem like it was there. And that was extremely frustrating to me, is that I could not see anywhere where the juice was flowing, and there was people, we just kept waiting. I think that was the anticipation of, okay, all right, now, they're just getting their, second game of the season, USF, Lagway's getting his feet under him, those kind of things. And we just did not, we didn't see any progression of power or anything that would say to me as a Florida Gator, just a typical Gator fan, hey, we're in this thing. It just felt like we woke up and showed up on the field and tried to play a ball game.
Rob, we got 30 seconds. Rob, what was the most frustrating thing for you, Rob?
That last 2 minutes and 42 seconds of the game, when we just gave it away, as opposed to giving the ball off, making them use their timeout, maybe making some first downs, maybe securing the game. And again, I don't know if they called off the plays and Lagway changed it or whatever, but to me, I'm not a big play calling guy that says, hey, that's the problem. But to me, that game, it was a problem. You know? And as Tyler said, I didn't see the motivation, which is the way I put it. I didn't see fire in the britches. Okay?
Right.
I wanted to see the team come out from the beginning and just take over the game. I mean, I hate to say it. I see it with FSU. They come out just absolutely frenzied. I see Miami come out.
Oh, my word.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and we came out, like he said, like we were half asleep. And I just saw no motivation. This week, to me, the key falls on the offensive line.
Right.
If our offensive line plays the way they're supposed to be, since there's 4 returning starters, they ought to be blowing teams off the field. And they couldn't even move USF. Couldn't even make a hole because they were getting the Lagway before he could even sneeze. If they just play a good offense, our defense, I think, can play well because LSU's offense is a little bit handicapped right now. I think if our offensive line plays the way they can and give Lagway time to pass and give running holes, we can win the game. I'm not going to say we will. I think we can cover.
All right, we got to go. Ty, thank you, buddy. Great job.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Nice to meet you, Rob.
Come back
My
again.
pleasure.
All right. Tyler Ford. He's a man with a house divided behind the enemy lines. Thanks, Tyler. All right. While we got you up there, I want you to tell us about the new baseball player, Jerry Voss, and about what's happening there. You talked to the family. He's going to be in Gainesville now. He's a pitcher, a promising guy. Rob, what about him?
Well, his name is Cooper Moss. He's a local player who is 6'3", 220-pound right-handed pitcher, signee from University of Florida. I spoke with him yesterday. He went to Bay County's Arnold High School and was just an absolute stud. And as a matter of fact, back in 2021, when he was 14 years old, he attended a camp in Hoover, Alabama. A Gator assistant coach texted him and invited him to a Gator camp. He went to the Gator camp, and he said, Cooper tells me he went there to check out the program and show them his stuff. On his way home, Coach Sully, called him and basically said he'd like him to come to Florida. 2 days later, at 14 years old, Cooper Moss accepted committed to the Gators. How dominant was he? His high school career, he was 23-8, a 1.28 ERA, 389 strikeouts and 247 innings. He made history becoming the first player in Bay County baseball history to record 300 career strikeouts and 20 home runs. He was a Class 4A Florida Dairy Farmers Player of the Year. The one thing he told me was, and when I asked him, what's his plans, he said he's not going to be Caglione, who made it look way too easy. He's going to focus just on pitching and let the DH do the hitting. He's strong in his faith. He says his big transition to college. Practice is just starting. And the first, I think we got the fall series coming up October 31st, our first fall exhibition game against Jacksonville.
You said Cooper Moss or Trooper Moss?
Cooper. Yeah, Cooper Moss. My apologies.
Well, that's a good report. Thank you for that. As long as I got you, talk about our friends at Rocket Lanes. What a great place. Can't wait to get back out there again. If you haven't been, folks, it's an experience. Our title sponsor, we appreciate them very much, Rocket Lanes.
No, well, we do. We appreciate Rocket Lanes. So bring your family, enjoy a day of bowling, skating, playing arcades. While the kids play, enjoy a cold beverage in their upscale sports bar and grab a bite to eat from the deli grill. They have their fall football menu out, which includes a Cuban sandwich, mac and cheese, corn nuggets, pub chips, and beers. But remember, Rocket Lanes is the host of the Panhandle Gator Club. Join fellow Gators and friends at a football watch party and watch the Gators on one of their many TV screens while enjoying their Saturday beer bucket special. This week, the Gators football team plays Saturday night at LSU with kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Come get social at Rocket Lanes, 513 North Richard Jackson Boulevard, Panama City Beach, in the shops of Edgewater across from Edgewater Beach Resort.
How do they reach you if they want to join the Gator Club or they want to maybe advertise on the show?
The easiest way is I have an email for them if they will. And I don't know if you have it to put up, but basically,
I can't put it up at this point in time, but we'll just say it. We'll have it up next time.
I'll say it, then I'll spell it, but it's rambling4617 @gmail.com. So that is
Rambling4617 @gmail.com reaches you personally.
That is a direct email to me. I appreciate anybody's comments, constructive criticism, questions, etc. If you want to be part of the show one way or another, let us know, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, and certainly we appreciate Rocket Lanes once again. Here they are, our title sponsor. There's a telephone number. Drop by, get some food, bowl, check it out. Also, our sponsor, Prine Orthodonics. Appreciate their participation. And, of course, the main people, Panhandle Gator Club. There's information there if you'd like to know how to get in touch with them. Hey, great job in show number 2, buddy. You came through strong.
Well, we're trying and we're learning from
We're getting there, right? We're getting there. Yeah,
we're getting there, and appreciate everything you've done for 50, 60 years of a sports journalist for Florida Gators and others.
Well, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. It might be a little dicey, along the season, but that kind of comes with Florida football,
Well, like I tell everybody, I was in Florida at 1989. They were 0-10-1.
There you go.
I was at the top 4 national championship games, won 3 of them. So you got to learn to be in between.
Yeah, it's going to be, this is one thing I learned about football season. It's just because you got it figured out, it changes. So a lot of things can happen. Right now, FSU's on top of the world. 2 weeks ago, Florida's on top of the world. FSU wasn't. It changes. And around here in the Panhandle, we got lots of colleges. Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Florida State. Next week, we'll have our other co-host on, Bob Brown from Sideline Sports. We're going to see you next week, right?
Yeah, we'll be.
All right, man. My buddy Bob Dotson, and then we'll get the coach for now. Have a great week, folks. Enjoy the games.
Go Gators.